DeepSea is a natural gas extraction company that retrieves natural gas from rock formations beneath the seabed. Okay. This gas is then transported through its extensive pipeline network to a bottling plant located at the sea surface for processing. Alright, so they extract the gas and they transfer it to the bottling plant, which is at the sea surface, and they're extracting it from rock formations beneath the seabed. So it has to go from the seabed to the sea surface. The gas in rock formations is pressurized, enabling it to flow to the surface and reach the bottling plant. Yet excessive pressure can cause bursts in the pipeline, leading to uncontrolled gas release known as blowout. Okay, so this is a big problem that can happen. So because the gas is pressurized and sent to the surface, if there is excessive pressure, it can result into an uncontrolled gas release, which they call a blowout, which will obviously be a problem. A blowout carries a staggering cost encompassing not only environmental damage but also reputation loss and financial losses, totaling crores of rupees. Additionally, the impacted section of the pipeline requires a complete replacement. So see, the first part, of course, explains the process, of course, introduces the company DeepSea, right? Explains the process quickly about how gas is extracted and then it flows to the surface through pipelines to the bottling plant. But the main thing here is this blowout issue. Okay, this, if it happens, is a massive problem. Because it clearly says it carries a staggering cost, a massive cost. So it's not only environmental damage, which will obviously put the company in trouble, but also reputation loss and a huge financial loss. So blowout is a huge potential problem for DeepSea. Industry safety regulations divide the pipeline network into 3 levels. Level 3 is the part under the seabed. Level 2 is the part above the seabed, but in the deep sea, while level 1 is near the surface. Okay, so they have divided the pipeline network due to safety regulations, or other regulations have been divided based on 3 levels of the pipeline. So level 3 is the lowermost level, which is under the seabed. Level 2 is the part above the seabed, but in the deep sea, and level 1 is near the surface. Okay, and remember, the gas is extracted from rock formations beneath the seabed, and then it flows to the surface through pipelines. The safety regulations require multiple blowout preventer valves. Alright, from now on simply referred to as valves, to be placed at the 3 different levels of the pipeline network. Remember, blowout is a big problem. If a blowout happens, an uncontrolled gas release, that's going to be a big problem for the company. So they have to do everything possible. They have to implement all the safety regulations to prevent a blowout. And what this is saying is that the safety regulations require multiple blowout preventer valves. So these valves are designed to prevent a blowout, and from now on in the set they'll be referred to as valves, to be placed at 3 different levels of the pipeline network, L1, L2, L3. The valves are normally kept closed, but when the pressure in any part of the pipeline rises beyond a critical level, nearby valves are opened remotely to release the pressure in a controlled manner to prevent blowout. Remember, blowout is an uncontrolled gas release. Okay, so what this is saying is that they're normally closed because these are safety valves, right? So remember, these are safety valves. So normally they are kept closed, but only in case of emergencies, only when required, they are opened up. So what it's saying is when the pressure in any part of the pipeline rises beyond a critical level, nearby valves are opened to release the gas in a controlled manner, which will prevent blowout. Because if you don't open the valves, then the pressure will keep building up, eventually leading to a blowout. So these valves are opened up selectively in case if the pressure is rising to release the gas in a controlled manner. The number of valves across the pipeline helps localize the pressure release, with a greater number of valves providing a backup mechanism, helping in improving pressure localization in case of a blowout. So of course valves are very important, so they also have backup mechanism in case valves fail. There are backup valves that can be used to improve the pressure localization and to prevent a blowout. Given that the valves themselves can occasionally malfunction and not release the pressure when needed, using a high number of valves ensures that a malfunctioning valve can seek the safety of a nearby functioning valve. So this is where it talks about how backup valves are important. Okay, valves are preventing a blowout. Valves can also malfunction. So in case if they malfunction, you need to have backup valves which will take over. Okay, so you have to keep that in mind as well. And this is an important point to keep in mind, that safety valves can also malfunction. Let's carry on. A valve can malfunction in 2 ways. It may fail to release pressure when needed, okay, which is the job of a valve. So it fails in its primary job and it doesn't release the pressure as previously mentioned, or it can leak gas during regular operation. So they can malfunction in two ways. One, it fails to function, which is obviously a big problem. But the second problem is it can also leak gas, right? Resulting in unwanted losses. Obviously, if there is gas leakage, that will cause losses to this company. When a valve malfunctions, it necessitates manual replacement. Okay. So if it malfunctions, it clearly says it will need a manual replacement. Okay. So remember the way in which the two ways in which can malfunction, and the fact that if it malfunctions, it has to be manually replaced. In the DeepSea network, 30% of the valves are located at level 3, okay, which is the deepest level. We know that, right, below seabed. The remaining valves, which is 70%, are evenly distributed between the top two levels. All right, we'll make a note of that. These valves are critical to ensuring safety and are exclusively supplied by GoValve. Now they're bringing in another company here. Okay, so make a note of that. These valves are critical to ensuring safety. We know that already, and are exclusively supplied by GoValve. This is an important point. A highly specialized manufacturer that holds a monopoly in the country's market. Okay, so this last paragraph is pretty critical because it introduces GoValve, right, which is an exclusive supplier to this company, to DeepSea, a supplier of valves, and it has a monopoly in the country's market. So we'll obviously make a note of that. Okay, there's quite a bit of detail. It's a lengthy set, right? It almost seems like a reading comprehension passage, but there are some important points, and of course, as you know, while you're reading the set, you should make a note of important points. Now, I'm not saying that you should make detailed notes because you won't have time in the exam, but definitely the most important critical notes, make a note of it and keep making mental notes of all the other points. Okay, it's important. So keep talking to yourself while you're reading the set, rephrasing, understanding, articulating what the set is saying. All right. Okay, let's go to the questions now. Okay, let's look at question 1. GoValve has recently proposed a maintenance package for the valves to DeepSea, which includes a clause that whenever a valve at level 3 malfunctions, all valves at that level will be replaced. Now, GoValve is obviously, we know, that exclusive supplier of valves to the company. They're proposing a maintenance package, and it has a clause. It has a particular point in the package which says whenever a valve at level 3 malfunctions, all valves at that level will be replaced. That is the additional clause in their maintenance package. Okay, so if one valve at level 3 malfunctions, GoValve will replace all the valves there at level 3. Accepting the clause will cost a significant premium, obviously, right? Because GoValve is saying that even if one valve malfunctions at level 3, we'll replace all the valves. That means the company will have to pay the replacement cost for all the valves and not just one valve, right? So obviously it's going to cost a significant premium to DeepSea. The management of DeepSea have the following pieces of additional information under consideration. Okay, let's consider them. So they've given 5 points. This is a combination question, as you can see from the options. So in combination questions, after you've read till here, you should typically read what the question is asking and then evaluate the points accordingly. All right. So which of the following combinations of the above pieces of additional information will help the management of DeepSea the most in accepting the clause? So understand the question very carefully. That's very important in BDM. Which of the following pieces of additional information given above will help the management of DeepSea the most in accepting the clause? So now put yourself in the shoes of DeepSea and you have to accept this clause. And what is the clause? Focus on the clause. The clause says whenever a valve, even a single valve at level 3 malfunctions, all the valves on that level will be replaced. And remember, this will cost a significant premium to DeepSea, obviously. So this question is asking us to look for information that will help us in accepting the clause. Remember that. So we're going to go in favor of the clause and put yourself in the shoes of DeepSea. Now in combination questions, right, I always say this. See, if you start evaluating each point individually, it can get very tricky. These combination questions can get very tricky that way because these points can be close. So when you're evaluating these points in the first round, look for an extreme right or extreme wrong option. So look for extremes. Either it can be extremely right or it can be extremely wrong. If you can pick that one and if you're confident of it, then it can help you to eliminate options quickly. Okay, so let me demonstrate that. So here we're talking about most in accepting the clause. So extremely right will be a point which is very clearly going to help DeepSea accept the clause. Extremely wrong will be a point that will not help DeepSea in accepting the clause. So it can even be reject. It can be a point which will cause DeepSea to reject the clause, or it can be a point which is very unrelated to the discussion. Okay, so that would be extremely wrong. So we'll be on the lookout for extreme right and extreme wrong options in the first round of evaluation. All right, so let's evaluate the points and look for extreme options. The walls are known to be prone to malfunction. Okay, now if this was the piece of information given to DeepSea, that the walls are known to be prone to malfunction, you'll obviously want them to be replaced. If they're prone to malfunction, that means they malfunction on a regular basis. So that means replacement is good. Okay, and that's what the clause is telling you, that if one valve goes wrong, we'll replace all the valves in level 3. So if the valves are prone to malfunction, replacement is a good thing. Okay, so this point can act in support of the clause, which is what we're looking for. But is it extremely right? Not really. Okay, can be it looks like it's a point in favor of the clause, but it's not very extremely right. It's not standing out. So let's go to the next one. Any malfunction in one valve often results in leakage from the neighboring valves. Now understand this. Okay, this is like a domino effect. One valve goes wrong. What this point is saying, if there is a malfunction in one valve, it will result in leakage from other neighboring valves as well. So one malfunction will cause other malfunctions. Now, if this is the situation, this clause is great, right? Because this clause is saying whenever one valve mentions, we'll replace all the other valves. And this point is telling you that if a valve malfunctions, it's quite likely that it will cause other valves to malfunction as well. So this point is fantastic. The clause is fantastic if you consider this point. So it's very much aligned to this clause. So this is one of those seems to be one of those extremely right options. Okay, so let's mark that. Let's see if there are other extremely right or extremely wrong. All right, let's look at C. GoVolve is ready to negotiate a discount if the clause is accepted. Now, think about it. So we are looking for reasons to accept the clause, right? Now here it's saying that if the clause is accepted, GoVolve is ready to negotiate a discount. All right. Now think about this. This may seem like a very attractive option, right? But if they're accepting the clause, it's anyway going to cause a significant premium. All right. So it is going to be additional cost for the company. Even if they get a discount, will it be an attractive offer? We don't know. Right? So can this be a reason? Can discount be a reason in this case for the company to accept the clause? Think about it, because it's a very big premium and we don't know the quantity of discount. So we don't know, right? So let's move on. Replacing the valves at level 3 is a very difficult job, which is best done by GoVolve. Okay, so replacement at level 3 is very difficult and it's best done by GoVolve. So then the company should stick to GoVolve. If they are the best sort of company or best entity to do this, then we should stick to it. So it seems to be in favor of the clause, but again, it's not very extreme. It's not extreme right or wrong. The chances of pressure buildups are higher near the seabed. Okay, now this is talking about higher near the seabed. We are talking about level 3, which is below the seabed. So is this connected? Doesn't look like it. Okay, the chance of pressure buildups are higher near the seabed. That means the chance of a blowout are higher near the seabed. But we are not talking, in this question, we are not talking about level 1 or near the seabed. We're talking about level 3, which is below the seabed. So this looks like something which is extremely wrong. And this looks like something which is extremely right. Okay, now keep that in mind. Now let's use this intelligence that we have to eliminate options. This we can be very confident, okay, because of the domino effect, that this would be a right option. So let's look for options that have B. This doesn't have B. So this can be eliminated. This has B, so we'll park this. This has B, we'll park this. This also has B, we'll park this. This doesn't have B, we can eliminate it. Okay, this is the first check. We're not just going with this. We also have E, which is quite likely wrong, right? That's because it's not connected to level 3, it's connected to level 1. So let's eliminate answers that have E. Right? Because it's the wrong. So we shouldn't accept an answer which has E because it's not aligned to accepting the clause. Now out of the 3 remaining, 2, 3 and 4, this one has E. So we can safely eliminate this as well. Now we're left with 2 and 3. Okay? And again, I'm saying we should do this only when you're able to spot extreme right or extreme wrong options. Now let's look at this. A, B and D, B, C and D. So B is common. We've already evaluated this. D is also common. Okay, so D, we don't really have to worry about it, but we'll evaluate it at the end. The tussle is between A and C. Now let's go and evaluate that. Okay, A says the walls are known to be prone to malfunction. If they are prone to malfunction, they will need replacement. So this is a good reason for the company to accept the clause. C says GoVolve is ready to negotiate a discount if the clause is accepted. As we discussed, this can't be a reason for them to accept the clause. Accepting the clause is going to incur them a huge cost. So that discount is not going to make a difference. We don't even know the value of the discount, right? So this can't be a reason for them to accept the clause. So between 2 and 3, A is much stronger than C. So therefore this looks like the answer. We'll quickly evaluate D as well. Replacing the walls at level 3 is a very difficult job, which is best done by GoVolve. If this is the case, then you should stick to GoVolve and accept their clause, right? Therefore the answer is A, B and D. Okay, so this is a strategic way of solving these combination questions. Again, I'm recapping. Look for the extreme right or extreme wrong options. Use that for elimination and then make sure whichever answer you're picking, evaluate all those points, right? You can't just solely go according to the extreme strategy. You have to evaluate all the points at the end. But in this case, the answer is A, B and D. Okay, awesome. Let's go to question 2. A startup SafeVolve has started importing a technologically superior brand of valves from abroad, which boasts a significant reduction in gas leakage. Okay, so this is a new company called SafeVolve, and they're introducing a new line of valves, and their sort of USP or their advantage is that they are promising a significant reduction in gas leakage. Now, from the set, you will remember, and you can quickly go back and see that the valves have two problems. They can malfunction in two ways. Okay, let's look at that. Yeah, here we go, third paragraph. So in two ways, it may fail to release pressure, so it's not functioning, or it can cause gas leakage. So gas leakage is a problem, potential problem with valves. And what this new company, SafeVolve, is saying that they boast a significant reduction in gas leakage. Okay, so they are trying to address one of the problems that is there with valves, and significant reduction in gas leakage is great. Okay. SafeVolve has established a large inventory of these imported valves, but is struggling to gain foothold in the local market. An NGO working for the protection of marine lives has appealed to DeepSea to replace their existing valves with the product from SafeVolve. Right. So now, because this product is known to be superior in the sense that it will reduce gas leakage, the NGO has appealed, because an NGO is working for the protection of marine lives, and obviously gas leakage will cause problems for marine lives. So therefore this NGO has appealed to DeepSea to replace their existing valves, which is GoVolves, with SafeVolves. Okay. However, the installation of this new valve will require substantial modification in the pipeline, entailing unknown challenges in installation and maintenance. Okay, so the NGO is appealing, or you can say that, okay, I'm just going to say appeal, but they're kind of putting pressure, right? But the problem is for the company that if they go with the new valve, it's going to entail unknown challenges in installation and maintenance. So it's not going to be an easy task to install, replace these valves and then maintain them as well. So let's look at the question. Which of the following reasons, if true, can DeepSea best cite to publicly reject the appeal? Read the question very carefully and read each and every word. We want DeepSea to publicly reject the appeal, okay? And you have to read each and every word. Remember this, it clearly says publicly rejected, okay? So we have to give a reason to DeepSea that they can use to publicly reject this appeal. And what is this appeal? The NGO has appealed that DeepSea move from GoVolves to SafeVolves, right? Because it's good, it will prevent leakage and it's good for marine life protection. Okay, so we have to look for a reason which will help DeepSea publicly reject this appeal. Okay, and the appeal, remember, is to move from GoVolves to SafeVolves. So we have to look for a reason which will potentially go against SafeVolve, right? Because the appeal says implement SafeVolves. If we look for a reason that goes against SafeVolves, then we'll be able to reject that appeal, okay, and publicly reject it. Let's look at the options. Number 1, SafeVolve depends exclusively on imports and may be prone to procurement issues. Now see, this is a minus point for SafeVolve. which is good, which is what we're looking for. We are looking for a minus point for safe valve. And it says safe valve depends exclusively on imports and may be prone to procurement issues. Okay, but think about it. This is a minus for safe valve, but will this help DeepSea to publicly reject the appeal? The NGO is appealing to save marine lives and move to these valves because it will help us save marine lives. Will the public be satisfied with this? If they publicly come and say, oh, we're rejecting safe valves because they have procurement issues, is this strong enough for the public to be okay with this? Think about it. This is a negative for safe valve, but it won't help them publicly reject it because the public can still question the company that, oh, just because of procurement issues, you're not prioritizing marine lives. This is good for marine lives, right? Shifting to safe valves is good. So just because of procurement issues, you're saying that we won't go with safe valve and you're impacting marine lives. The public won't be happy with it. Okay. So in spite of being a negative point for safe valve, it's not strong enough for the company to use this to publicly reject it. Okay. All right. Let's go on. Let's move on. GoVolve is a reputed brand and had a partnership with DeepSea for a long time. Now, this is a potential positive for GoVolve, which is also good. So we can reject it in two ways. Either we look for a minus of safe valve or we look for a plus for GoVolve. GoVolve is a reputed brand and had a partnership with DeepSea for a long time. Now, think about it again. If they go and say this publicly, is this enough for them to reject safe valve and not prioritize marine lives? No. The public is not going to be happy with it. The public will be, so what? Fine, it's a reputed brand. You've had a long partnership, but safe valve is helping us to protect marine lives. So you should prioritize that. The public won't be satisfied with this. Okay, let's go to number 3. GoVolve follows the strictest global industry standards of leakage prevention. Now, this is again a positive for GoVolve, and it's a positive which is linked to leakage prevention. Okay, remember, safe valve is boasting a significant reduction in gas leakage, right? The NGO is appealing to move to safe valve so that the gas leakage can reduce and marine lives can be protected. But if we are saying that GoVolve already follows the strictest global industry standards of leakage prevention, this is good, right? That means the problem of leakage prevention that safe valve is promising to solve, GoVolve has already taken care of that to a large extent. They're already following global industry standards for strict global industry standards for leakage prevention. Okay, so this can be a good reason to reject the appeal, saying we're using GoVolve and they already have high standards of leakage prevention. Let's park this, and this will potentially satisfy the public as well. Let's look at 4. Only some developed countries have mandated the use of the new valves. Again, this is very lukewarm. Just because only some developed countries have done it, that is not reason enough for DeepSea to reject it. Okay, so the public is not going to be happy about this. The new valves cost twice as much as the existing valves. This will never go down well with the public, because the company is saying we cannot go with safe valves because it increases our cost. So the public will be like, okay, so you're prioritizing your profits over marine lives, right? So the public won't be happy about it. The only reason, the only reason that can potentially make the public satisfied is number 3, right? If they already have strict standards of leakage prevention, then that's good enough, or that might be good enough for the public. So it is the best reason that they can give to publicly reject the appeal. In this question, the word publicly is very important. So in BDM questions, make sure to read the questions very carefully and make note of important words. Let's look at question 3. A startup, Safe Valve, has started importing a technologically superior brand of valves from abroad, which boasts a significant reduction in gas leakage. Okay, this is the same sentence as before. An update to industry safety regulations has come out, which allows a roll number of valves in a pipeline network if technologically superior valves similar to those imported by Safe Valve are used for the entire network. Okay, so this is additional information. This seems very important. What the safety regulations are saying is that now DeepSea can potentially use lower number of valves in their pipeline network than before, provided if they shift to Safe Valve, and this is because Safe Valve is technologically superior. Okay, so that's an update to the safety regulations. So DeepSea can actually do that, can switch to Safe Valve and use a low number of valves. DeepSea is aware that the more the number of valves, the better is DeepSea's ability to contain blowouts. Now, this is also important. They're already aware of this. Okay, so more number of valves are beneficial because it helps DeepSea to contain blowouts better. Okay, the number of valves. However, a higher number of valves increases the chance of a leakage. Alright, so there's a disadvantage to that as well. While a higher number of valves can improve their ability to contain blowouts, it also increases the chance of a leakage. So there is a plus and a minus there. Therefore, DeepSea is contemplating a proposal to reduce the number of valves to almost half. Okay, that's a big reduction by replacing the existing valves by GoValve with the valves sold by SafeValve. Now, again, there's quite a bit of additional information here, but I think it's important to make a note that if you have more number of valves, okay, the plus is prevention of blowouts, right? Their ability increases if they have more number of valves to prevent blowouts. But the minus is leakage. Okay, the more number of valves, the more the chances of leakage. So there is a plus and a minus here to having more number of valves. Let's keep that in mind. And they're contemplating a proposal to reduce the number of valves by almost half. Okay. A team tasked with evaluating the proposal has made some observations listed below. Remember, the proposal is to reduce. Okay, that should be very clear because that's what we have to evaluate, right? So the proposal is to reduce the number of valves. My writing is horrible, so just ignore that. But a team tasked with evaluating the proposal has made some observations listed below. Which of the following observations is the most helpful in rejecting the proposal? The multiple layers here. The proposal is working towards reducing the valves, right? So we have the proposal here. Let's just write it down. The proposal is in favor of reducing the valves, right? Or we can also say is in favor of going with safe valves. Okay, that's the proposal. But the question is saying which of the following observations is most helpful in rejecting the proposal. So we have to go against the proposal, right? So keep that in mind. All right, let's look at it. Number one, there's no clear industry standard for the minimum number of valves required at a certain level. All right, now we are trying to reject a proposal which is the team that has created the proposal is advising. Okay, let's take it that way. The proposal is suggesting to DeepSea that they should cut their valves by almost half. We have to reject this proposal. Now, if we get this information that there's no clear industry standard for the minimum number of valves required at a certain level, how does this help us in rejecting this proposal? It doesn't. It won't do anything. This option simply says we don't have a clear industry standard for the minimum number of valves. Still, the team that is giving the proposals can say, okay, fine, we don't have a standard. Let's reduce the valves by half because this is good for leakage prevention. The fact that we don't have a clear industry standard here for minimum number of valves has no bearing on the proposal. So this we can eliminate. If a GoValve valve is open to prevent a blowout, the chance of leakage from the valves within a certain distance increases. Now think about it. They're talking about GoValve. This proposal is in favor of safe valves. Alright. So it says if a GoValve valve is open to prevent a blowout, the chance of leakage from the valves within a certain distance increases. So this is a negative for GoValve. Isn't it? If it's a negative for GoValve, that means you're aligning with the proposal. The proposal is saying switch to safe valve. And this point is presenting a negative for GoValve. So this will help you accept the proposal, not reject. So this is the opposite. This is not what we're looking for. Okay, because it's support of GoValve. Alright, let's look at number 3. The superiority of the safe valve products is only in terms of preventing leakage, not blowouts. Nice. Now here, what is it saying? That the superiority is limited to leakage, which is a plus, but not blowouts, which is a significant minus. And this is a minus for plus and minus for safe valve. So superiority is limited to preventing leakage, the superiority is not in terms of preventing blowouts. So there is a plus and minus, and the minus is quite significant because blowouts are very important. Now, if this information comes out, this can help DeepSea to reject the proposal because the proposal is favoring safe falls. So the DeepSea management can say, but no, the superiority is not in terms of preventing blowouts, hence we're rejecting the proposal. It's a good reason. Let's park it. Let's look at option 4. At level 1, the chance of a pressure rise is much lesser compared to the other two levels. And now, if it's saying the chance of a pressure rise is much lesser, that means the chance of a blowout is much lesser. You can go back to the set and check. A blowout happens when there's an uncontrolled release of gas, when the pressure rises beyond a critical level. So this option is actually diminishing the risk of a blowout, is lowering the risk of a blowout. Okay, because the chance of a pressure rise is much lesser. Now, if the risk of a blowout is going down, then you probably don't need as many valves. Valves are there to protect you from a blowout. If the risk of blowout is going down, then you can potentially reduce the number of valves, which aligns with the proposal. Remember the proposal, there are two parts here, right? The proposal is suggesting that you cut down the valves by half, and it's also favoring safe valves. But here, if the risk is going down, then it's okay to cut down, potentially okay to cut down the number of valves. So this actually aligns with the proposal, but will not help you in rejecting it. Let's look at option 5. At level 3, a blowout results in more time-consuming and expensive repairs compared to the other two levels. Now consider this option. See, while 4 was reducing the risk of a blowout, 5 is doing the converse. 5 is telling you that a blowout at level 3 can be quite dangerous. Okay, because if it results in level 3, it's going to be more time-consuming and expensive repairs compared to the other two levels. So this is, you can say that it's highlighting the danger of a blowout or increasing the danger of a blowout, right? Now, if the danger of a blowout or the risk of blowout is increasing, that means it implies that you need more safety valves. Think about it, okay? You can reduce safety valves when the danger has gone down, when the risk has gone down. If the danger is still there or if the danger increases, you will need more safety valves. Okay, it's a very tricky question. Okay, but what this option is doing is it is causing the danger to go up of a blowout, and hence because the danger is going up, the risk is going up, you will need more safety valves, which goes against this proposal. This proposal is talking about reducing the valves, but if the danger is going up, you'll have to increase it. So therefore it goes against it. Okay, it's a very tricky option, but we'll have to park this as well. Now we're stuck between 3 and 5. Okay, it's an extremely tricky question. Remember, we have to pick an observation will be most helpful in rejecting the proposal. Now between 3 and 5, 5 wins over 3, and I'll tell you why. In 3, you have a plus and a minus for safe valve. On one side, you're saying that yes, that the superiority is not in terms of preventing blowouts, which is a minus for safe valve as compared to go valve. But you're also including the point where it says it helps in preventing leakage, it's superior in preventing leakage. So there's both a plus and a minus for safe valve, whereas in 5, you're increasing the risk and danger of a blowout, which clearly tells you that you cannot reduce the number of valves. Okay, so between 3 and 5, 5 is a stronger point which will help the team reject the proposal. Okay. All right, very, very tricky question. I think one of the trickiest BDM questions in XAT 24. And out of the set, definitely. I mean, this is a question that if you're not sure in the exam, you should not take chances and leave such kind of questions. All right.